Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of today's session, reading about Hussein's revolution and how it began. So we're still talking about Uthman, the third caliph, and his oppressive policies. And as a result of these oppressive policies, dissent is beginning to brew in the land, getting ready for an uprising against him. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. If we look at the consequences of Uthman's policy of allowing Quraysh to spread through the lands, we will see that it allowed them to amass great wealth and affluence through trade and diplomatic marriages. This is in addition to the religious halo that they acquired due to their status as companions of the Prophet ﷺ. There are many individuals mentioned that are given the title of companion. Most historians use the word companion to refer to any Muslim who met the Prophet ﷺ and did not recant his faith before death. The methods that Othman and his governors used against anyone who gives them advice and calls for reform gave further reason for the public to complain and dissent. Some companions from Quraysh saw all this and participated in it. In addition, we see the magnified ambitions that the Shura instilled in the hearts of the notables of Quraysh. When we observe all these factors, we begin to see a broad outline of the causes that led the Muslims to revolt against Uthman. We see the rise of Quraysh as a theo-aristocratic class created by the aftermath of the event of Saqifa. In addition to its higher class status, Quraysh amassed large amounts of wealth due to the preferential treatment in the caliphate's wealth distribution system, in addition to Uthman's policies on economics, division of land, and migration. The idea of the Shura created in the hearts of most of these notables of Quraysh an ambition for power, driving them to make full use of these circumstances which made their aspirations plausible and expedited their endeavors. On the opposite end of the spectrum was a class of soldiers and new converts to Islam, both of whom were denied the privileges of the rest of society. This gave them great reason for mutiny and dissent. The disgruntled republic was the bulk of the revolution, fed by the actions of Uthman and his governors and kin. The flames were fanned by the ambition of those who sought to take the caliphate for themselves. They were able to use their wealth and their religious status to gather supporters. The deteriorating conditions of the nation allowed them to promise the people a better life. These general conditions and circumstances resulted in a popular movement. Although it lacked organization, it did not lack unity in driving factors and shared objectives. Uthman and his confidence of the Umayyad plan acted in a manner far removed from wisdom and justice. Rather than addressing grievances, they subjugated with violence. This harsh policy was the result of a conference that Uthman held with his advisors and governors, his administration. The historian Al-Tabari characterized the conference as such. Abdullah ibn Amir said, "My opinion, O Prince of the Believers, is to command them with a war that distracts them from you, and that you gather them for battle so that they are humbled to you. The concern of each will then be to none but his own, along with the matters of his mount and the lice in his scalp." Uthman commanded them to return to their posts and to increase restrictions on their subjects. He commanded them to gather people in the barracks in preparation for war. He was determined to deprive them from government spending so that they obey him and remain in need of him. However, these harsh responses only added fuel to the fire. The impoverished masses saw that they were being deceived. They began to join in Kufa, Basra, Egypt, Hijaz, and elsewhere to undertake a unified effort. They sought to force the hands of Uthman's close advisors, whom they considered to be the root of all their suffering, and to change his governors, who brought corruption to the land and oppressed the citizens. They sought change in the economic policies of the caliphate. While Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ went back and forth between the revolutionaries and Uthman, trying to ease tensions and attempting to reach reconciliation, there were others who sought to agitate the revolution for their personal ambitions. They spent their wealth and used their influence to mold the revolution's leaders and arm its personnel. The tragedy reached its peak with the death of Uthman. Next chapter, the Ali Caliphate. People flocked to Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ, demanding that he take political leadership of the nation. He refused. But he did not refuse because he thought he was incapable of bearing such a great responsibility. He was fully prepared for such a task. He knew the Muslim nation and all its grievances. He lived with all of its classes. He observed their lives tirelessly. He knew the roots of all their issues. He understood the class structure that had caused such a great division. He was capable of true leadership because of the position he held with the Prophet ﷺ. He was his close friend, confidant, advisor, military general, tactician, and messenger. His close relationship to the Prophet, which no other companion held, allowed him full preparation for the responsibility of governance. The Prophet ﷺ gave him all these responsibilities to prepare him for this great task. The Prophet, peace be upon him, knew that he was the most prepared and competent to take that position. The obvious conclusion to all this was that Ali should have been the direct successor of the Prophet, peace be upon him, within the Muslim nation. Although it was not destined for him to take political leadership after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, he did not shy away from public life. His participation was crucial to the Muslim nation. Neither Abu Bakr, nor Umar, nor Uthman could do without his advice on judicial issues, politics, and war. This was especially true during the time of Uthman, as Imam Ali ﷺ had extensive relationships with people of all classes in society. But Uthman did not benefit from Imam Ali's advice, as his infamous advisors would not allow him to do so.